Dr. Unikim walked through the long hallways of Nexus Prime Station. Her footsteps echoed on the metal floor as she made her way to the council chamber. The huge space station floated in the darkness between stars, home to 12 different alien species. Yuna had been here many times before, but today felt different. Today she carried news that would change everything. The council chamber was massive. The ceiling stretched high above, decorated with symbols from every world in the Galactic Union. Representatives from different species sat in a wide circle. Their chairs were built for bodies very different from humans. Yuna looked around the room. The Valari sat tall and graceful, their skin changing color like living crystal. When they were calm, their skin was blue like deep water. When angry, it turned dark purple. The Gorvani looked like walking mountains, their rocky skin gray and hard. They were strong enough to crush metal with their bare hands. The lumens floated. Near the ceiling, beings made of pure light that spoke through flashing colors. At the center of the room sat Council Speaker Thexani. She was Valari old and respected. Her skin showed wisdom through its pale blue color with silver streaks. When she spoke, everyone listened. Dr. Kim Nexani said, her voice clear and cold, "You requested this emergency meeting." Speak Yuna stepped forward. Her hands shook a little as she activated the hologram projector. Images filled the air. Above the council, security footage from the mining world Kepler 44-B. The pictures showed destruction. Broken buildings, smashed equipment, bodies of Gorvani workers lying still. 3 days ago, your mining teams on Kepler 442-B were attacked, Yuna began. 17 workers dead. All your equipment destroyed. You captured one attacker. The council members made various sounds of agreement. Clicks from the insect like Zephyr, deep rumbles from the Gorvani, light pulses from the lumens. Yes, said Admiral Kento Voss. He was the military leader of the Union fleet. His 4 arms moved as he spoke, sign of his Tathari heritage. We captured the beast responsible, savage creature that killed trained soldiers with primitive weapons. Yuna took a deep breath. That beast is human. Silence filled the chamber, then laughter. Not human laughter, but the sounds each species made when something seemed funny. The Gorvani made grinding noises like rocks falling. The Valari produced musical tones. The lumens flashed bright yellow. Impossible, Thexani said. Her skin darkened to purple. Humans are peaceful. Your species serves in support roles only. Scientists, doctors, engineers. Oh, you have no warriors. You are wrong, Yuna said firmly. The creature you captured is Staff Sergeant Jiwan Lee of the Terra Defense Corps. He went missing 3 years ago when raiders attacked his transport ship. Dr. Minho Park stepped forward from the human delegation area. He was Yuna's partner in research, a quiet man who studied alien biology. His hands moved over a control pad, bringing up new images. These are genetic test results, Minho said. DNA samples from the prisoner matched Terra Defense Corps records. This is definitely Juan Lee. The hologram showed complex charts and numbers that proved their claim. DNA patterns that could not be faked. Medical records from Earth showing the same genetic markers. Admiral Voss stood up, his forearms crossed over his chest. Your soldier has clearly gone insane from isolation. 3 years alone on a death world would break any mind. This explains his savage behavior. You do not understand, Yuna said. Her voice grew stronger. Juan is not insane. He adapted. Humans do that, we survive. But if you keep him locked up, if you treat him like an animal, he will not just escape. He will hunt you, all of you. More laughter filled the chamber. Council member Grexton, a massive Gorvani, slammed his stone fist on his chair.
Ow.
One small human against the might of the Union fleet. Ridiculous. Your species has been part of our Union for 50 years, Thexani said. We have seen your capabilities. Humans are intelligent but weak. You have never shown any fighting ability. Una felt anger rising in her chest. Because we chose not to show you. Because we wanted peace. Peace is all your species is good for, Admiral Voss said dismissively. We will study this aberration to understand what went wrong with its mind. Perhaps we can fix the damage. Yuna looked around the chamber at the alien faces. Some showed curiosity. Others showed dismissal. None showed understanding. "You have seen security footage from the attack," she said. "Did you watch carefully? Did you see how Jiwan moved? How he used the environment around him? How he turned mining tools into weapons?" The chamber fell quiet. Some council members exchanged glances. Minho activated new footage. Images showed a figure in makeshift armor moving through the mining complex. He moved like water flowing around obstacles. Every step had purpose. Every action was efficient. "Watch his movements," Minho said. "This is not random violence. This is tactical thinking. Military training." The figure in the video used a mining laser as a cutting tool, slicing through support beams to bring down structures on his enemies. He turned gravity generators into traps. He used the station's own systems against the defenders. "Clever animal behavior," Admiral Voss said, but his voice sounded less certain. "Animals do not modify complex technology," Yuna replied. "Animals do not plan multi-stage tactical operations. Animals do not leave opponents alive when they could kill them." This last point made several council members shift uncomfortably. The footage showed that while Jiwan had killed 17 Gorvani, he had disabled twice that number. Many miners had been found unconscious but unharmed. "He showed mercy," Yuna continued. "Even in combat, even when fighting for his life, he chose not to kill when he did not have to. That is not the behavior of a mad beast. That is the behavior of a trained soldier following rules of engagement." Councilmember Brightsong Illumin flashed concerned yellow patterns. "If this human possesses such capabilities, why did your species never inform us?" "Because you would have feared us," Yuna said simply. "Every species you encountered was either absorbed as support personnel or eliminated as a threat. There was no middle ground. We chose to appear harmless. You chose to lie," Thexani accused. "We chose to survive," Yuna shot back, "and to live in peace with our neighbors." Admiral Voss activated his personal communicator. "Security Chief Vexen, increase containment protocols on the human prisoner. Triple the guards." Yuna felt despair growing in her chest. "You're making a terrible mistake. Jiwan spent 3 years alone on one of the most dangerous worlds in the galaxy. Kepler 440b has gravity twice that of Earth. The atmosphere is poison. Every creature there evolved to kill, but he survived. More than survived. He thrived." "What are you suggesting?" Exani asked. "I am telling you that you have not captured a broken soldier," Yuna said. "You have captured humanity's apex predator. And if you continue to treat him as a test subject instead of a person, you will learn why humans dominated every ecosystem on our homeworld." The council members looked uncomfortable now. Several whispered among themselves in their native languages. "Enough," Admiral Voss declared. "The creature will remain in maximum security containment while we study it. This meeting is over." Yuna played her last card. "Then I request permission to speak with Jiwan. If he is truly insane, he will not recognize me. If he is still rational, perhaps I can convince him to cooperate." "Denied," Thexani said. "No human personnel will be allowed near the specimen." As the council members began to leave, Yuna called out one final warning. "When this goes wrong, when Jiwan breaks free and starts hunting, remember that I tried to warn you. Remember that you had a chance to do this peacefully." She turned and walked out of the chamber, Minho beside her. In the hallway, she activated her encrypted communicator. "General Choi," she said quietly, "they refuse to listen. Giwan is classified as a research specimen. We need to prepare for the worst." The response came from Earth, from the Seoul headquarters of Terra Defense Corps. General Hannah Choi's voice was calm but deadly serious. "Understood. Alert all TDC units. Operation Broken Chain is now active. It's far below in the station's maximum security level." Giwan Lee sat motionless in his containment cell. The walls were made of transparent aluminum, harder than steel. Energy fields hummed around him. Cameras watched his every movement. But Jiwan was not looking at the walls or the cameras. He was listening, learning the patterns of the guards, counting their footsteps, timing their shifts. His enhanced hearing, sharpened by 3 years of hunting and being hunted, picked up conversations in the corridors they thought they had captured. An animal? They had no idea they had caged a predator, and every predator knows that the first rule of hunting is patience. Dr. Zara Valtheri walked through the sterile corridors of research level 7. She was the Union's best scientist for studying dangerous creatures. Her Valari skin glowed with excitement, shifting from blue to bright green. Today she would begin examining the most interesting specimen she had ever encountered. Behind her, young assistant Kixel hurried to keep up. His arms were full of recording equipment and testing devices. "Dr. Valtheri," he said nervously, "are you certain it is safe to approach the creature so closely?" "Perfectly safe," Zara replied confidently. "The containment field can stop a charging Gorvani battle beast. One small human cannot possibly escape." They reached the maximum security observation room. Through thick, transparent walls, they could see into the containment cell. The human sat perfectly still on a simple metal bench. His hands rested on his knees. His breathing was slow and steady. He had not moved for hours. "Fascinating," Zara murmured, making notes on her datapad. Most captured predators pace constantly. They show stress behaviors like rapid breathing or aggressive displays. This specimen shows perfect control. She moved closer to the observation window. The human's head turned slowly until his eyes met hers. Zara felt something cold run down her spine. In 20 years of studying the galaxy's most dangerous creatures, she had never seen eyes that looked at her quite like that. The human's gaze was not wild or angry. It was calculating, patient, intelligent. "Note the eye-tracking behavior," she said to Kixal, trying to keep her voice steady. "The specimen is clearly studying us as much as we are studying it." 3 levels above, in their temporary quarters, Yuna and Minho worked frantically. They had used their diplomatic access to download the station's complete layout. Technical specifications filled their computer screens. "The security system is designed to contain powerful but simple creatures," Minho said, pointing at the schematics. "Energy barriers to stop brute force, motion sensors to track movement. But look at these blind spots." Yuna studied the plans: ventilation systems, power conduits, maintenance tunnels. They built this place to hold animals, not soldiers. "We'll see the same weaknesses we do," Minho said grimly. "It's probably faster." In the command center, Admiral Voss reviewed the capture footage for the 10th time. His tactical staff gathered around the holographic display, watching the human move. "Through the mining complex? Analyze his attack patterns," Voss ordered. Captain Morden, his second-in-command, manipulated the controls. The footage slowed down, showing each movement in detail. He uses the environment as a weapon. Gravity generators become traps. Mining. Lasers become cutting tools. Even the air recycling system is turned against the defenders. "Primitive tactics," Admiral Voss said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Sir," Captain Morden said carefully, "these tactics are not primitive. They are efficient." The human achieved maximum damage with minimum resources. Admiral Voss did not like what he was hearing. How did 17 Gorvani soldiers lose to 1 human with improvised weapons? The answer came from an unexpected source. Chief Engineer Kexania Gorvani himself stepped forward. His stone-like features showed embarrassment. "I have studied the footage carefully. The human did not fight like an animal. He fought like someone who understood our technology better than we do." The first sign of trouble came during the station's night cycle. Maintenance worker Brightsong was checking the lower-level systems when he discovered something disturbing. Several ventilation grates had been carefully loosened. Not broken or torn off, but systematically opened with tools. Brightsong immediately reported to Security Chief Vexen. "The grates show tool marks," he said, his light patterns flickering with nervousness. "Someone with technical knowledge accessed these areas." "Impossible," Vexen replied. "All personnel were accounted for during that shift. They checked the security cameras covering those areas. The footage showed nothing unusual. The corridors were empty. The grates appeared normal. Someone had been there," Dr. Velthari arrived at her laboratory the next morning to find chaos. Not destruction, but something more unsettling. Every piece of equipment had been moved. Her research notes were scattered across her desk. Nothing was missing, but everything had been touched, examined, learned from. Her hands shook as she picked up her datapad. Her personal research on station security protocols was displayed on the screen. Information about guard rotations, camera placements, and containment procedures. Information that should have been classified. "This is impossible," she whispered. The containment field never failed. The alarms never sounded. She rushed to the observation room. Through the transparent walls, she could see the humans sitting in exactly the same position as yesterday. Same posture, same breathing pattern, same expression. But something was different. If someone looked very carefully, they might notice that his eyes moved differently now. They tracked sounds from farther away. They noticed details that should not have been visible from his position. Station. Chief Quintal called an emergency meeting in the command center. Representatives from all departments gathered around the central table. Their faces showed confusion and growing concern. "We have a security breach," Quintal announced. "Someone has been accessing restricted areas of the station, areas that should be impossible to reach." Security Chief Vexan activated the holographic displays. Maintenance reports tool marks on ventilation systems. Research labs show signs of intrusion, but our cameras recorded nothing. Our sensors detected no unauthorized movement. Dr. Velthari stood up from her chair. "I request permission to increase containment protocols on the human specimen. Something is not right about its behavior." "The creature has not left its cell," Admiral Voss said firmly. "Our sensors are absolute. The containment field has not failed once." Yuna could not stay quiet any longer. She rose from the observer section where the human delegation sat. "His name is Ji-Wan Lee. He is a person, not a creature. And you need to listen to me now, before it is too late." Dr. Kim Quintel said impatiently, "Your warnings have been noted and dismissed. The specimen remains securely contained." "Then explain the security breaches," Yuna challenged. "Explain how someone with detailed technical knowledge accessed your restricted systems." The room fell silent. No one had connected the security problems with the human prisoner. The idea seemed impossible. "You're suggesting that the human somehow escaped its cell, conducted reconnaissance operations throughout the station, and returned without triggering any alarms?" Admiral Voss asked skeptically. "I am suggesting," Yuna said carefully, "that you do not understand what 3 years of survival training on a death world can do to a human being." Before anyone could respond, alarms began wailing throughout the station.
I'll be right back.
Red lights flashed in the corridors. Security Chief Vexan's voice crackled over the communication system. "Level 7 breach. The human specimen has escaped containment." Everyone in the command center rushed to the security monitors. The screen showed the maximum security level. In perfect detail, guards ran through the corridors. Scientists evacuated their laboratories. Emergency teams activated containment protocols. But when they looked at the human cell, they saw something impossible. The containment field glowed with steady power. Transparent walls were intact. All systems showed normal operation, and inside the cell, Ji-Wan Lee sat on his bench in exactly the same position he had maintained for days. Same posture, same expression. Cameras clearly showed he had never moved, but in the corridor outside the cell, 3 Gorvani guards lay unconscious. They had been struck with surgical precision, pressure points that would cause immediate unconsciousness without permanent damage. Their weapons were missing. Their access codes had been downloaded from their personal devices. "This is impossible," Security Chief Vexen said, staring at the monitors. "The human never left the cell. Our recordings prove it." Dr. Velthari felt sick as understanding dawned on her. "We are not tracking the right signature," she said quietly. "We are looking for the human who entered that cell 3 days ago, but that is not who is in there anymore." Admiral Voss turned to stare at her, Explain. 3 years on Kepler 44 to B, Una said from across the room. That world where everything wants to kill you, an atmosphere that would poison most species, gravity that would crush weaker beings, predators that make your worst nightmares look harmless. She moved closer to the security displays. Guan did not just survive there. He adapted, he evolved, he became something new. On the screens, they watched the figure in the cell. To alien eyes, he appeared to be meditating. Una recognized the micro-movements now. Tiny shifts in posture, controlled breathing exercises. Muscle memory training performed so subtly that alien sensors could not detect them. He is not maintaining his skills, she said with growing horror. He is improving them. Captain Morden laughed nervously. You are suggesting one human can outmaneuver our entire security system? His answer came in the form of screaming from level 12. When security teams arrived, they found that the station's central computer core had been accessed. Not damaged, but modified. The security network now had gaps in its coverage, blind spots that moved through the system like living things. Una closed her eyes as the full truth hit her. The hunt has begun. The command center erupted in chaos as more reports flooded in from across the station. 2 Volari technicians found unconscious in the engineering section. Illumin energy being somehow dimmed and discovered in a maintenance closet. Each incident happened in areas where the security cameras stopped working for exactly 17 minutes. Security. Chief Exon slammed his clawed hand on the control panel. His reptilian features flushed dark green with frustration. This cannot be happening. The human never left his cell. Our sensors are perfect. They cannot lie. Dr. Minho Park stepped forward from the human observation area. He looked tired and worried. You are tracking the wrong thing, he told the security chief. You were looking for the human who went into that cell 3 days ago, but that is not who is in there anymore. Admiral Voss activated the tactical displays. Images of the station's different levels appeared in the air. Explain what you mean. Una moved to stand beside Minho. Her voice was quiet but clear. 3 years on Kepler 44 to B. A world where everything wants to kill you. Gravity twice as strong as Earth, air that will poison you in minutes, creatures that hunt better than anything in your nightmares. She pointed to the image of Giwan in his cell. He did not just live through that. He grew stronger. He learned. Became something new. On the security screens, they could see Giwan sitting motionless. But now Una could see what the aliens missed. Tiny movements of his eyes. Small shifts in how he breathed. He was practicing fighting moves so small that alien technology could not detect them. He is not just staying in shape, she realized with growing fear. He is getting better. Captain Morden laughed, but the sound was nervous. You think one human can beat our entire security system? His answer came as screaming echoed from level 12. Security teams rushed to investigate. They found the station's main computer system had been changed. Not broken or destroyed, but improved. The security network now had holes in its coverage. Gaps that moved through the system like living shadows. Dr. Valthari studied the computer modifications with growing horror. Too deep purple. This is not random damage. The human is learning our technology faster than we can understand what he is doing. Brightsong flickered nervously, his light patterns showing fear. How is such a thing possible? Una remembered Jiwan's military file. He was trained in everything. Engineering, medical care, explosives, reconnaissance. Terra Defense Corps does not just make soldiers. They make people who can survive anything. The station began to change. As personnel started disappearing during shift changes, not killed but taken, security found them hours later in impossible places. Some were discovered in zero-gravity chambers. Others were sealed behind energy barriers. All were unconscious and missing their access cards, weapons. Each person who was taken reported the same thing when they woke up. They never saw him coming. Engineer Keksani was the first to notice the pattern. The missing personnel are not random, he reported to the command staff. Each one had access to different systems. Power, control, life support, communications, weapons. What does that mean? Station Chief Quintal asked. It means he's collecting keys, Una said grimly. Access to every system on the station. Security. Chief Vexon declared martial law, but it was too late. During the hours of chaos, Juan had time to study every species on the station. He learned their weaknesses, their blind spots, their fears. The Gorvani were strong, but could not see well. In darkness. The Valari had excellent eyesight, but were hurt by certain sound frequencies. The Lumins were made of energy, but could be disrupted by electromagnetic fields. And humans. Humans had spent millions of years learning to hunt everything else. Dr. Veltheri found the first message in her personal laboratory. Carved into her metal desk with surgical precision were words in perfect galactic standard. You study predators? You know what it feels like to be prey. More messages appeared throughout the station. Each one was written in the native language of whoever found it. The Gorvani discovered tactical analysis of their military weaknesses. The Valari found scientific studies of how their crystal biology could be disrupted. The Lumins received poetry about darkness consuming light. How does he know our languages? Captain Morden asked in amazement. The same way he knows your technology, Una replied. He learns fast. Admiral Voss tried to flood the maintenance areas with sleeping gas, but the plan failed. The station's life support system had been modified during the night. Not damaged, but improved. Air filters worked better. Gravity generators provided more stable fields. Even the lighting had been optimized for better visibility. Chief Engineer Kexani stared at his readings in disbelief. The human is not trying to destroy the station. He is making it work better. Why would he do that? Quintel demanded. Because he is not a destroyer, Una said sadly. He is a protector. Even now, even angry, he is trying not to hurt anyone permanently. Captain Morden led a strike team into the lower levels. They carried the Union's most advanced weapons and wore the best armor available. What they found in the maintenance areas shocked them into silence. The space had been turned into a workshop. Equipment from every species on the station had been taken apart and rebuilt into something new. Gorvani strength enhancers were connected to Valari precision tools. Lumen energy cells powered devices that should not have been possible to create. This is impossible, Morden whispered.
Ow.
This level of technology integration takes years of research and development.
Ow.
The strike team never returned to the upper levels. They were found 12 hours later, sleeping peacefully in the station's meditation garden. Their weapons were gone. Their armor had been carefully removed. None of them remembered how they got there. Admiral Voss received a personal message on his private communication channel. The encryption was military grade, known only to him. But somehow Jiwan's voice came through clearly. Admiral, you're fighting. Methods assume your enemy will follow your rules. Humans do not have that problem. Voss felt ice in his blood. What do you want? What I have always wanted, the voice replied calmly. To go home, but it was too late for simple negotiations. Reports came in from every level of the station. Personnel found in strange locations, positioned like pieces on a game board. It's not hurt, but moved, arranged, controlled. Una studied the pattern and felt sick. He's not hunting them anymore. He is hurting them. The realization hit Admiral Voss. Like a physical blow, the command center. He is driving everyone toward the command center. As if responding to their understanding, the lights went out throughout the station. Emergency power activated, painting everything in red light. For the first time in days, the cameras watching the containment cell showed something different. G1? Lee was standing. He looked directly into the camera and smiled. The cell door slid open with a soft hiss. Security alarms screamed throughout the station. But it was too late. The hunt was no longer beginning. It had been going on for days, and they were only now realizing they had been the prey all along. Guan stepped out of his cell and walked calmly down the corridor. Every camera tracked his movement now. Every sensor detected his presence, but none of the station's weapons could target him. The security system had been turned into his ally. In the command center, alien personnel huddled behind force fields and automated defenses. They watched the screens in terror as the human moved through their station like he owned it. He was never trapped, Una said quietly. He was studying us, right? The beast was free, and the real hunt was about to begin. The command center became a fortress under siege as the surviving station personnel barricaded themselves behind energy shields and automated defense systems. But Juwan did not attack the barriers. He simply waited outside them, clearly visible. On the security cameras, showing them exactly what they had created, the figure standing in the corridor no longer looked like the primitive human the council had dismissed. Juwan wore armor made from pieces of every species' technology. Gorvani's strength enhancers covered his arms. Valari precision tools hung from his belt. Lumen energy cells powered systems that glowed softly on his chest. Have been impossible, but it worked with terrifying efficiency. His movements were perfect. Every step had purpose. Every gesture was calculated. There was no wasted motion, no uncertainty. This was not madness or mutation. This was human military training pushed to its absolute limit. "Look at him," Admiral Voss whispered to his gathered staff. "Really look at him." They could see it now, what Una had tried to warn them about. This was not a broken soldier or a savage beast. This was what humans became when everything else was stripped away. When survival became the only law that mattered. Dr. Velthari's voice shook as she activated the emergency communication system to contact the Galactic Council. "Council members, we were wrong. We were not studying a damaged human. We were studying what humans become when they must adapt or die." Through the reinforced windows of the command center, they could see Giwan working on something in the corridor. He was not trying to break through their defenses. He was building something new. "What is he doing?" Station Chief Quintel demanded. Minho studied the image and felt his blood turn cold. He is not trying to get inside. He is building a communication device. The meaning hit everyone at once. For days, they had assumed Jiwan was acting alone, a single soldier driven by isolation and trauma. But if he could contact Earth, if he had been in communication with other humans all along, ... YUNA single quotes encrypted communicator activated. General Hannah Choi's voice filled the command center with deadly calm authority. "Nexus Prime Command, this is Terra Defense Corps. You are ordered to release Staff Sergeant Jiwan Lee immediately." Admiral Voss found his voice, though it cracked. With strain, "General Choi, your soldier has attacked our personnel. He has taken control of our station. My soldier has defended himself against hostile forces while following proper military engagement rules." General Choi replied coldly. "Check your casualty reports, Admiral. How many of your people are actually dead?" The horrible truth dawned on them slowly. In all the chaos, all the fear, all the reports of attacks and disappearances, they had assumed the worst. But as Security Chief Vexon reviewed the actual data, his face went pale. 17 dead, he reported quietly. All from the initial incident on Kepler 44-B. Everyone else on the station is alive. Unconscious, relocated, disarmed, but alive, Una added with a mixture of horror and pride. Even while taking control of the entire station, even while fighting for his freedom, Jiwan chose not to kill when he did not have to. Captain Morden stared at the security displays in shock. He was running a training exercise, using our entire station as a military simulation. On the screens, Jiwan finished his communication device and stepped back. For the first time since his escape, he spoke directly to them. His voice carried clearly through the station's speakers, calm and professional. "Council members, you classified humanity as a peaceful logistic species based on 50 years of observation. But you only saw us during peacetime. You never asked what we were like during the centuries before we met you. You never wondered why a supposedly weak species developed such advanced military training." He gestured to the modified station around him. Technology from 12 different species working together in ways that should have been impossible. This is what humans do. We adapt, we learn, we overcome, we survive. And when you cage us, when you threaten us, when you treat us like animals, We show you why our planet has only one apex predator. General Choi's transmission continued through the communication system. Admiral Voss, you have 10 minutes to release Sergeant Lee and issue a formal apology to the human delegation. After that, this becomes a Terra Defense Corps operation. Through the command center's viewing ports, they could see ships approaching in the distance. Human ships, moving in formations that spoke of military precision the galaxy had never seen. The vessels moved like predators, sleek and purposeful, their weapon systems clearly visible but not yet activated. How many ships? Admiral Voss asked weakly. 12 attack cruisers, 6 heavy destroyers, and the flagship, Captain Morden reported, his voice barely a whisper. They appeared on our sensors 15 minutes ago, but our computers estimate they have been approaching for hours without being detected. Stealth technology, Chief Engineer Keksani said in amazement. More advanced than anything in our databases. Juans. The voice came through the speakers again, still calm, still reasonable. The creature you thought you captured was never the monster. The monster is what made him. 3 years on a death world, fighting every day just to breathe, just to find water, just to avoid being eaten by things that hunt in packs. He looked directly into the nearest camera. You wanted to study human military capability? Congratulations. You succeeded. Dr. Valtheri realized the full scope of what had happened. We were never studying one soldier. We were being studied by an entire military force. Every human in the Union has been watching this, Una confirmed. Every scientist, every engineer, every medical officer, they have all been learning about your technology, your tactics, your weaknesses. The approaching human fleet began broadcasting on all frequencies. General Choi's voice was no longer cold. It was final. This is your last warning. Release our soldier, or we will come and take him. Admiral Voss looked around the command center at his terrified staff. Aliens who had considered themselves the masters of the galaxy now cowered behind energy shields, afraid of one human soldier who had turned their most secure facility into his personal playground. Admiral Juan said through the speakers, You have seen what one human can do when he must. You really want to find out what happens when we stop holding back? For the first time, the aliens truly understood what they were facing. Not just one soldier, but an entire species that had been pretending to be harmless while secretly preparing for war. The beast was indeed one of humanity's own. But the real revelation was not about what humans could become in isolation. It was about what they had always been, hidden beneath a mask of peaceful cooperation. The hunt was over. What the real test was just beginning. The human fleet arrived like a storm made of metal and purpose. 12 ships that moved through space as if they owned it. Their hulls dark and smooth, their weapon systems visible, but not yet threatening. They took positions around Nexus Prime. With the precision of a military operation that had been planned for years, General Hannah Choi stepped off the transport ship Indomitable and into the docking bay of Nexus Prime. She was not tall, but her presence filled the space around her. Her uniform was simple, without decoration, but every alien who saw her understood immediately that this was someone who commanded respect. Behind her came the human delegation. Not scientists or engineers this time, but soldiers. Men and women who moved with the same controlled efficiency that G1 had shown. Their equipment was clearly military, advanced beyond anything the Union had seen from humanity before. Admiral Voss met them in the docking bay, surrounded by his security detail. His forearms trembled slightly as he tried to maintain his authority. General Choi, your presence here is not authorized. This is a Union facility. My soldier is here, General Choi replied simply. That makes it my concern. She looked around the docking bay, noting the defensive positions, the number of guards, the types of weapons they carried. Her eyes missed nothing. Where is Staff Sergeant Lee? The specimen is contained in our research facilities, Admiral Voss said, trying to sound official. General Choi's expression did not change, but the temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. His name is Ji-Won Lee. He is a human being and a soldier under my command. You'll refer to him properly. Dr. Yuna and Dr. Minho approached from the human observation area. General Yuna said quietly. They do not understand what they have done. They think Jiwan is damaged. That his time on Kepler 4-4 to be broke his mind. Did it? General Choi asked. No, Yuna replied firmly. It made him stronger, the group made. Their way through the station corridors toward the command center. Alien personnel pressed against the walls as they passed, staring at the humans with new understanding. These were not the peaceful support workers they had known for 50 years. These were warriors. In the command center, the full council had assembled via holographic communication. Speaker Vexani's crystal skin showed deep purple stress patterns. General Choi, we demand an explanation for this military action. What military action? General Choi asked innocently. I came to retrieve my soldier from your research facility. The fact that he has taken control of your station while waiting for rescue is simply a demonstration of his training. She activated her personal communicator. Sergeant Lee, report your status. Guan's voice came through clearly. Am secure and have established control of station systems. No hostile casualties. All personnel accounted for and unharmed. Outstanding work, Sergeant. Prepare for extraction. Admiral Voss stepped forward desperately. General, we cannot allow you to simply take the specimen. Our research is vital to understanding what went wrong with his mind. General Choi turned to face him fully. When she spoke, her voice was quiet, but carried the weight of absolute authority. Admiral, nothing went wrong with his mind. Everything went right. She gestured to the displays showing the modified station systems. You wanted to study human capabilities under extreme conditions. Sergeant Lee provided you with a perfect demonstration. He survived 3 years on a world that kills most creatures in ours. He adapted to your technology in days. He took control of your most secure facility without killing a single person, unnecessarily. Dr. Valfari found her voice. But the level of violence, the savage behavior? What savage behavior? General Choi asked. He defended himself when attacked. He used available resources to survive. He showed mercy to defeated enemies. These are not the actions of a savage. These are the actions of a professional soldier following rules of engagement. The horrible truth was becoming clear to the alien delegates. Captain Morden spoke slowly, as if afraid of the words. You are saying that this is normal human military performance? Sergeant Lee is above average, General Choi admitted. But yes, this represents standard Terra Defense Corps training. Every human soldier is taught to adapt, survive, and overcome any environment or enemy. Station Chief Quintel made a choking sound. Every human soldier. We've been part of your union for 50 years, General Choi continued. During that time, we have had personnel on every major station, every important facility, every strategic location in the galaxy, scientists who studied your technology, engineers who learned your systems, medical officers who understood your biology. The implications hit the assembled aliens like a physical blow. Dr. Brightsong flickered rapid patterns of panic. You have been spying on us for 50 years? We've been learning, General Choi corrected, just as you have been learning about us. The difference is that we never forgot what we were underneath. She moved to the central display, showing the approaching human fleet. Every ship out there carries soldiers trained to the same standard as Sergeant Lee. Every human facility in the Union has defensive capabilities you never suspected. Every peaceful scientist and engineer in your employ is also a trained military reservist. Admiral Voss felt weak. Why maintain such deception? Because you gave us no choice, General Choi said sadly. Every species you encountered was either absorbed as support personnel or eliminated as a threat. We chose to appear harmless so we could coexist peacefully. She activated another display, showing historical records from Earth. But we never forgot what we learned during thousands of years of warfare on our homeworld. We never stopped training. We never stopped preparing. Preparing for what? Exani demanded. General Choi's expression grew serious. For the enemy that is coming, the command center fell silent. Outside the windows, the human fleet maintained its positions, neither threatening nor withdrawing. Waiting. What enemy? Admiral Voss asked. Ancient records from our deep ocean trenches speak of a previous galactic civilization, General Choi explained. Something consumed them from the darkness between stars. We found evidence of their technology, their warnings, their final desperate messages. She looked around the room at the assembled alien faces. The Union is not the first galactic community. But if we prepare properly, if we work together, it might be the first to survive. Dr. Valtheri understood first. You've been preparing us, training us, teaching us to work together. Every modification Sergeant Lee made to your station represents technology integration that should take decades to develop. General Choi confirmed. But when humans work with alien technology, we can accelerate that process dramatically. You are not conquerors, Yuna realized. You are protectors. We are survivors, General Choi corrected. And we learned long ago that the best way to survive is to make sure everyone else survives too. Giwan's voice came through the speakers one final time. Permission to return to duty, General? Granted, Sergeant. Come home. The beast was coming home. But now the aliens understood that he had never been the monster they feared. He was the guardian they needed. 6 months after the incident at Nexus Prime, the galaxy looked very different. The pristine white corridors of the station now showed signs of ongoing construction. Human and alien engineers worked side by side, installing new systems that combined the best technology from every species in the Union. Guan Li stood in the main training facility, watching a mixed group of young soldiers practice combat techniques. Gorvani cadets learned human engineering principles, while human recruits studied Valari precision methods. Lumen energy beings worked with solid matter species to create new forms of tactical coordination. How are they progressing? Dr. Yuna Kim asked as she joined him at the observation window. Better than expected, Giwan replied. His voice was calm now, no longer carrying the edge of a hunted predator. The Gorvani are learning that strength without intelligence is wasted. The Valari are discovering that precision can be combined with adaptability. The Lumens are finding new ways to interact with physical matter. Below them, a young Gorvani named Tio worked with human instructor Seojin to modify a mining laser into a defensive weapon. What had once been impossible technology integration now happened routinely in the humans, Yuna asked. Guan smiled slightly. We are learning that we do not have to carry every burden alone. In the command center, Admiral Voss reviewed the latest reports from across the galaxy. The Union fleet had been completely reorganized. Human stealth technology protected Valari science vessels. Gorvani's strength enhanced human engineering projects. Lumen energy systems powered defensive networks that spanned multiple star systems. Admiral Captain Morden reported, the deep space monitoring stations are operational if anything approaches. From dark space, we will detect it years before it arrives. Voss nodded approvingly. And our response capabilities? Every major system now has a rapid response force, Morden continued. Mixed species crews trained in human adaptive tactics. They can deploy anywhere in the Union within days. Dr. Valthari entered the command center carrying her latest research. The Valari scientists had become humanity's strongest advocate among the alien species. Admiral, I have completed my analysis of the integration protocols. She activated a holographic display showing complex technical data. Human military doctrine is not based on superior individual capability. It is based on making everyone around them more effective. The displays showed tactical scenarios where human soldiers worked with alien partners. In every case, the combined effectiveness was greater than the sum of individual abilities. They do not seek to replace us, Valtheri continued. They seek to elevate us. In her private office, General Choi met with the leaders of the Galactic Council. The meeting was very different from the one 6 months earlier. Now the aliens listened when humans spoke. General Speaker Thexani said, her crystal skin showing respectful blue patterns, "We owe your species an apology." I failed to understand. Your true nature. You saw what you needed to see, General Choi replied diplomatically. We showed you peaceful cooperation because that was what the situation required. But why maintain the deception for so long? Councilmember Gregson asked. The massive Gorvani's tone was curious rather than accusatory. Because trust must be earned gradually, General Choi explained. If we had revealed our full military capabilities immediately, you would have seen us as a threat to be eliminated. Instead, We chose to prove our value as allies first. Duh. Bright Song flickered thoughtful patterns. And now? Now we face the real test together, General Choi said seriously. The enemy that consumed the previous galactic civilization is still out there. Our deep space sensors have detected movement in the void between galaxies. They are coming. Mood in the room grew somber. Through the windows, they could see the mixed fleets practicing maneuvers in space. Human ships moving in perfect coordination with alien vessels. Their combined capabilities far greater than any single species could achieve alone. How long do we have? Admiral Voss asked. 5 years, maybe 10, General Choi replied. Enough. Time to finish our preparations if we work together. In the training facilities, Jiwon concluded the day's exercises. The mixed species units performed better every week, learning not just tactics, but trust. Young soldiers who had been taught to fear other species now worked together as if they had been born to it. Instructor Minjin approached with the daily reports. Sergeant, the Council has approved expansion of the program to 50 more systems.
Good.
Juan replied. We will need every trained soldier when the time comes. He looked out at the stars through the facility's transparent walls. Somewhere in the darkness between galaxies, an ancient enemy was moving toward them. But for the first time in galactic history, they would not face that threat as separate species competing for survival. They would face it as one people, united by the understanding that survival meant everyone survives. Dr. Yuna found Juan in the observation lounge during the evening shift. He stood quietly watching the stars, his reflection ghost-like in the transparent aluminum. Do you regret it? She asked. The 3 years alone? The transformation you went through? Gi-won considered the question carefully. I regret the necessity, but I do not regret the result. He gestured toward the training areas where human and alien soldiers shared living quarters, eating together, learning from each other. Before Kepler for 4 to be, I was just another soldier following orders. The isolation, the constant danger, the need to adapt or die. It taught me that survival is not about being the strongest individual. It is about making everyone around you stronger. The aliens understand that now, Yuna observed. Some do, Guan agreed. Others are still learning, but they will have time to learn if we do our job properly. Through the windows, they could see the human fleet maintaining its patrol routes alongside alien vessels. No longer hidden, no longer pretending to be less than they were, but not dominating either, simply taking their place as equals in a galaxy that had finally learned to work together. Beast was one of our own, Yuna said quietly, repeating the words that had started everything. Yes, Guan replied. But the beast was never the enemy. The beast was the guardian. In the depths of space, monitoring stations watched the void between galaxies. Sensors detected movement in the darkness, ancient and patient and hungry. The enemy that had consumed civilizations before was coming again, but this time would be different. This time, they would be ready. The galaxy had learned humanity's greatest lesson. Evolution never stops. And sometimes, the predator you fear is exactly what you need to survive. The hunt was over. The real war was about to begin. But for the first time in galactic history, every species would face it together, united by the understanding that they were all part of something greater than any individual world or culture. They were one people. Now, and together, they would either survive or fall as one. The beast had come home. And in coming home, he had brought the galaxy with him.